Release the beast! SBS Live This Week is back once again. This week we have a video interview for you from a band from Vancouver Island. And that is the band of Man-Made Lake. We met them before on the first trip that Sleeping Bag Studios ever made to Vancouver Island to do 5 interviews in one day. As we ripped through them, we barely got to know Man-Made Lake. We met Colin, Steve, and Nate that day from the band, and this is a band of 7, so we didn't even get half of the picture. So we're very excited to be able to show you the long-anticipated and late Man-Made Lake video interview, complete with videos. We're going to show you 2 of their own videos that have been posted previously on YouTube in this episode. The following episode we will get to some very exclusive goods from Man-Made Lake that they recorded for this interview. So not only did we find them a long time ago, but you guys know about these video interview projects that we're doing, and the different opportunities and the different ways that bands have handled this. You've seen bands from Sweden like Madness of the Night. You've seen Cinged from Kelowna and how intensely right they got their video interview. You also saw the Danbury Live very recently from Connecticut, and again, another different perspective and another different way to handle that interview. We've always stressed with the participants in this that you take as much time as you need, and that when you send us something this way, that you're proud of what you sent, that what's on screen represents you visually as a band. I want to stamp it down straight up. Man-Made Lake understood this project from the get-go. They have put together something that's both well shot and just incredibly inventive. I'm extremely proud of this and the way that it turned out. Did they mess with me? Absolutely. Of course they did. But you know what? That's what this is all about. This whole thing has been about creative control and freedom the entire time. And to see bands like Cinged, again, and now Man-Made Lake, the Danbury Live, really take the ball and run with it. They've put forth their own unique view and represented themselves hopefully exactly the way that they wanted to on screen. So unedited, this is what you get to see. You get to see Man-Made Lake's perspective on the different questions that we ask. We'll talk about movies, we'll talk about music, we'll talk about what's intense, we'll get intros and names and all that fun stuff. So there's every reason to stick around and make sure that you come back for part 2 when we air that as well. So once again, we've got Man-Made Lake here via video interview. We're Sleeping Bag Studios, the indie music show that just keeps on going as long as I stay sane. So let's get to it. SBS Live This Week.
Itches. Burns on my pee. My penis itches. And it burns when I pee. My penis itches. Won't you scratch it for me?
Man-Made Lake. I want to thank you personally from myself for joining us again on SBS Live this week. Really kick-ass that you guys would do this again. And we're very excited to be able to meet the rest of you that we didn't get a chance to meet on the SBS Island adventures when we were over there last time. But these projects are involved, and obviously there's a lot of work on both ends. But
it's important for us to let you know that we really appreciate what you guys do on your side of things. I can say from personal experience, I spin your tracks endlessly. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be of we, I know the order, an unkindness, fiery wreath. We could go into freeway, of course. Rock of the woods, I love it. We've said lots about Man-Made Lake, and we plan on continuing to say more, because you guys are honestly making something really unique out there, and you're making something that needs to be heard, in my opinion. I think, again, we talked about leadership in the past interview, and it's something that I really believe I see in Man-Made Lake. I see this ability to connect in a way that other people can't, and through the authenticity of videos I've seen from you guys, I really think that the average person can find something to like in your music, something to like in your videos, and something to like in you as people. So I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of you. I just want to say again to Steve, Colin, Brent, Morgan, Nate, John, and then there's a little bit of confusion over the last one. There's some conflicting information on the pages. One of them says Eric and one of them says Riley. So if I do address anything in terms of the wrong person or ask the question to the wrong person, no panic. We can change that later on through the editing process. Or maybe it gives you an opportunity to explain something and set the record straight. Lots of opportunities. So as far as battle plan goes, my recommendation is that you take as much time as you need. Don't censor yourself. Do what you want. Say what you want. Go the length that you want. Put as much into this as you want to put into it, Man-Made Lake. There is so much that you can do with this kind of visual representation, and I fully recommend that you take advantage of it. Because you guys are creative, you guys have a way about you that shows that this is art. It's not just music, and you guys can really put yourselves out there in a whole new light for a lot of people to get to know you. So watch the videos from beginning to end, formulate a strategy and a plan, and then again, take your time, keep the dialogue open with us, let us know where you're at from time to time, but take your time and make something that you guys are proud of, something that represents you in the music. Creative control is in your hands, Man-Made Lake, and we're expecting you guys to do great things with it. We know that you will, so we look forward to seeing what you have to say and what you have to show us. We're a music show, so of course anything musically you want to include, we fully encourage. As much or as little as you possibly want to add. We're big fans of switching it up, different versions of stuff. I will give you lots of opportunity to be interactive throughout this interview, and again, what you put into it, Man-Made Lake, is what you're going to get out of it. So do the best you can, because I know you guys kick ass, and I know that you can do this. I don't throw this project out to people that I can reach unless that I think that they really have the ability to put something on the screen that is just phenomenal. So we really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this interview with us here on SBS Live this week. Last time we got to know Colin, Steve, and Nate. Let's meet the rest of you. Let's do a quick intro. Lots of intros come in as just straight ahead normal stuff, so let's start this off right, on the right foot. Man-Made Lake, the floor is yours, as creatively as you possibly can think of. Represent yourselves from the get-go, and just give us an intro to your whole band.
Action. What are we doing for this?
Intro to our band. We have new people in our band, and we have old people in our band. And currently, we have all the people in our band, almost, except for the mysterious figure who seems to change shape from a Riley to an Eric to a Tom to a Peter to a Cole to a Maria to a Samuel and to a
To a Jedediah. Jebediah Springfield!
So, here is Morgan. He plays drums. This is Morgan.
Howdy.
He's a Australian Czechoslovakian dingo. You don't want to fuck with him. Next is Brent, cute geek. He's freshly single, so he's searching for some lovely life. some female life. Or male, I'm not sure what he's into. He hasn't told me.
Really? Not the male, unfortunately.
He just had to clarify that.
This man delivers the
And next is Steve. He's,
No,
well, we're not sure.
Next is John.
Oh, John. Oh, this is Jongle.
Hello.
Uncle John.
We're
Daddy,
using my
Papa
phone
John.
to film this. So just so you know,
He's the straight edge of the band.
We call
He's the
John.
straight
Get
edge.
that already.
We call John the sober daddy.
Sober Daddy.
don't drink, don't
Where did
smoke,
the doobie
don't
go?
do drugs.
Maybe he's gone.
Right here. And then we have.
Oh, me?
I'm Steve.
That's Steve. That's Steve
That's what's
boy.
up.
He says, "What's up?" to you.
All right, and you are
I'm Colin, of course. The one with all the acne.
Mr. Of course.
naturally.
Natural acne. See, some people have fake acne. I have real acne. I have the real thing, the deep boils, the really painful zits, you know? Especially when I laugh, it bleeds.
That's enough. All right.
That is enough.
All right, next question.
Straight vodka.
And that's Nate drinking straight vodka.
Yum.
Like a kitten.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
We're very happy to be doing this.
Jeremy Gladstone, are you related to Joey Gladstone?
Colin and I really enjoyed our talk in the SBS Island Adventures. A lot of philosophical kind of hints and kind of just led me to believe that there's a much deeper mind at work than perhaps I knew about going in. So let's give you that chance to be a little bit philosophical with us for a second here. You mentioned many times when we were talking about your music, when you would refer to it, you would mention that it is art. And it was to the point that it happened quite a few times, several times really, to the point where I was thinking to myself, this is just how he refers to his music all the time. So clearly, in my opinion, you definitely have that feeling that that is what you're creating. So I guess, let's ask this. Can all music be justified as art? And as far as Man-Made Lake is concerned, how is it, or why is it, that the definition of what you do and your work comes more readily to you as art than maybe just music?
Art can come in many forms. I think the difference is you can write music to write music. But sometimes when you sit down to create art, it doesn't always come out as music. It might come out as poetry, it might come out as a story, it might come out as a play, it might come out as a sculpture, or a mutilated Barbie doll, or a Ken doll, whatever you want to do. Whatever is your thing, man. So, to be honest, baby, art comes from deep within, and if it so happens to come out as music, then that is how it is defined as art.
The topic of influences is something that pretty much comes up standardly in almost every single interview that's ever been done to a band on Earth. But how about when you guys are playing? Is it possible to, is it possible to borrow from an influence without, copying a style per se? Can you play on the inside of an influence without necessarily just being a knockoff? And conversely, when you guys are making a track, how important is it for you to keep that identity, to keep that originality? Is it something that you're conscious of, or if these influences creep in, is that necessarily such a bad thing?
So this is the question of influences.
So with the question of influence, it's okay to be influenced by a band, because an influence doesn't always mean sounding like them. It can mean getting power out of them as opposed to sound. So for instance, when you hear a song you love, it may inspire you to write a song about something that you love, but it doesn't always have to sound like that other band. It can just be the strength and the power of the music you get it from. So now ask yourself,
We would like to know what the Zebra Man would like to say about this.
I think we're all influenced by everything we see and hear. Everybody. It's just part of life. We get influenced by things. Everything we see is in our brain somewhere, and we regurgitate it into something else. As beautiful or ugly as it may be.
Well said, sir. Beautiful words from a zebra. Influence is simply, to me, something I draw power, like Colin said. I draw power from many things. Musical, spiritual, and all those things funnel down to create the art that is Man-Made Lake.
Alright, and for those of us that are just learning about Man-Made Lake, how about let's resolve this Eric versus Riley issue right off the bat. Let's get a brief history from the person that can sort that out, and just give us an idea how everybody kind of joined Man-Made Lake and how it kind of came to be. Give us a history on the creation of the band and maybe some of the days leading up to it. What was the mentality like? How did this thing get created? And how has the bond been since then?
So I could tell you the whole story about Man-Made Lake, but I only know what I know. I don't know everything. It's probably not accurate, and these guys are probably going to look like I'm an asshole, which I am. So basically, what I know of the band is they started in 1924, and they were ghosts that migrated to Canada and decided they were going to move to China because the CSIS was onto them. And at any rate, Colin, do you want to take it from here?
John, what do you think?
Smothers Brothers. Okay.
Go.
That was a good one, Steve. Anyways, so basically how Man-Made Lake started was we started jamming out in basements for a while, you know, having some good times.
Pretty far out.
It's pretty alright, you know, we had some really good times, yeah. But we were too chicken shit to play live. We'd play on Tuesdays and Thursdays religiously, and then we'd never play live for 1 year. And then we went to China. And then what happened there, Steve?
Well, in China, I wouldn't actually know because I wasn't there yet.
He was there, though. You were there?
But I hear tell that there were some good times, lots of drinking, massive amounts of substance abuse.
While in China.
Lots of delightful shows in front of thousands of people.
Someone lost
there was,
their liver.
It's the all Canadian dream, basically. You know, a bunch of guys just getting together, having a good time playing music.
Man-Made Lake. Define intensity and its relationship to music. Give us an idea. Can it exist in fast music? Can it exist in slow music? What makes music intense?
intensity in our music basically is whether it's a slow song, a fast song, or a quiet song, as long as your heart is bleeding and jumping out of your throat, pretty much is okay.
When we had you on the show through the SBS Island Adventures, you mentioned that the decision-making process in a 7-piece band isn't always the easiest thing to, find the general consensus in. So give us an idea of what that looks like, Man-Made Lake. What does it look like when you guys are discussing something about your music? Like, is it like a round table discussion? How do you guys get down through this process and really work out some of what could be very emotional, very tough issues, very sensitive material? Everybody's an artist and everybody wants their point of view to be heard. So when it comes time to making these decisions, how is that ultimate decision reached in Man-Made Lake? And to take that question a little bit further, are there ever times that a decision can't be reached between all 7 of you and somebody has to take control of the direction that you guys are going in, either for a song or for an album? Are there times that these decisions don't come together and somebody's really just got to let it rip and be the person in charge?
Hey, Brent.
Yeah?
Pass me that beer over there.
What beer, buddy?
The one over there is shut up!
If you don't have a copy of Man-Made Lake's Murky Waters, go get it. They've just put out their new EP called Cinged, and we highly recommend going to get that as well. Let's show you an old video from Man-Made Lake. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's not kick-ass. Of course it is. It's on our show. So this is Man-Made Lake with a song called Strong Man in one hell of a video. Check this out.
stone skin tone. Heart melts 'cause of Kelly. He built his own tragedy. Dragons he can't slay. He was such a strong man. Made his plates from blade. He would drink his life away. He would thrash his pain. Never mind the lady. Well, he had his reign. Oh, he would chase life away. He would thrash his pain. Oh, never mind the lady. Well, he had his reign. Strong men remain. Strong men remain. Strong men remain. Never mind, never mind, never mind, mind the lady. Never mind, never mind, never mind, mind the lady. Never mind, never mind, never mind, mind the lady. Never mind, never mind, never mind, mind the lady. Never mind, never mind, never mind, mind the lady. Never mind, never mind, never mind, mind the lady. Strong men remain. 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 And they call will. And they call will. And they call will. And they call
Better, not worse. Better, better, not worse. Better, better, not worse. Better. Alright, so the facts will always be that we're a music show. There's no question about that.
but I was wondering if there's any kind of cross mediums here for Man-Made Lake. I was wondering, well, like for instance, my favorite movie is actually Adaptation. Despite the Nicolas Cage factor, I actually think that that movie teaches everybody a lot about life. It actually ends up kind of, you know, telling people, like, through example, this screenwriter that has to write a movie about a book about flowers, which is damn near impossible, as we all know. So how do you do it? Like, what's the key? Adaptation, correct? So that movie honestly personally changed my life, and I'm wondering, is there any chance that there's something like that for you guys? Do you have an example of a movie that really kind of brought you to another place, changed your view on the world perhaps?
Faces of Death. Train Spotting.
Go down.
Definitely Rain Man.
The Royal Tenenbaums.
Vegas.
Go down.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Millions.
Say it again, Sam.
Really?
Millions.
Nate, this question could very well result in just a flat no and a very short answer on my side. But I grew up with a piano my entire life and a hell of a lot of moving. I have some nightmare piano stories where, you know, it would be like myself and my dad trying to take an upright piano off the back of a U-Haul truck on our own, no ramp. Those kinds of stupid things that I've been through all my life. So when it comes to that, yeah, have you had any brutal piano moving stories back in the day? Because let's face it, man, if you don't, then I gotta go with the whole, well, how has the piano moved you thing? And I mean, it's a valid question.
This one time I had a piano and I...
No!
When you guys come in from your day jobs or wherever else it is that you are for the day and you come into your jam space, how easy is it to focus 7 people? Do you guys all get on the same page very quickly? Is there like a gear that you know that you have to switch on? That it's time for Man-Made Lake time, time to leave the work behind, and it is time to jam. Is that a focus that's easy to attain, or is that something that takes kind of like, again, some sort of leadership to really harness and bring together?
All right, now as a serious person of this band that is totally sober all the time, I'd like to answer this question seriously, because I think about it a lot, because I sit at my job every day at a desk, and it's very boring. And this absolutely creates an environment where I can come here and be creative and not go crazy like I do at work. So I really do appreciate when I come down here and I can let everything go, all the stress and shit that I have at work, and basically be who I want to be, who I really am. This is like my real job in my mind, and that's about it.
Going now.
But for the rest of us, hello!
John, you mentioned 80s influences in the Man-Made Lake bio. I am wondering, because I know you guys are open to all musical styles and genres, but how so? What do you mean? And above all, like, who are you pointing to, kind of, when you say influence?
Go.
So the 80s question, well, I actually didn't write that in the bio. That was Steve that wrote that.
Myself.
It's very correct. I do enjoy some bands from the 80s. I was born in the 70s, so I grew up with the 80s music as influence. My favorite songwriter is Matt Johnson of The, and he started sort of in the 80s, and that was a hacky sack just thrown at me. And I'm very much inspired by him. The music that I write myself is very inspired by him, and I'm getting the hook here. That's about it. Okay, bye.
What about that jam space, Man-Made Lake? we got lots of stuff in ours. You know, the usual. Drum kits, lots of fun stuff. You know, microphones, sleeping bags, of course, computers, ukuleles, scratch decks, and synthesizer pads and whatnot. So, I mean, that's kind of a look at, well, what, you want the rest? Okay, fine. So, your guitar wall, didgeridoo and cello, and we've got xylophone, and we've got telephones for microphones, and what else do you need? You need bass land. Lots of fun stuff going on here at Sleeping Bag, as you know. So, what about you guys? Can we have a look at your jam space? Tell us or show us why this is the perfect spot for your creativity and your music. How does it make you comfortable? Why is it the perfect place for Man-Made Lake to create it? Colin, I want to talk to you directly for a second. I want to talk about something that we got into a little bit at the Island Adventures. I want to talk about the importance of getting that live sound onto a CD or a record. I know that you and I have actually talked about this beyond our experience at the Island Adventures. We've gone beyond that to talk about it over email as well. I know that this stuff is important. It's not just Man-Made Lake that we hear this from. This is something that every band, every truly great live band in my opinion, really wants to see happen, whether or not they're professional signed bands or they're independent recording artists. It doesn't matter. Everybody wants that same goal. Everybody that's a great live act really thinks this is important. How do you get it though? Because people seem to struggle with it. And I know what we can do as a studio, of course, in terms of tricks through the editing process that we can bring to your music to give it that live element. But let's face it, it's not all on us, and we know that. So as a band, how do you guys go about the approach of getting that live element onto your recordings?
Go.
It's very important that we capture the live sound on the album, because why the fuck would you want to sound any different? But at the same time, you want to give people the feeling like they're there. You want to, create layers. You want to make it seem realistic. You want to sort of give it that sort of meat and juice and, blood and guts and goo. You don't just want a paper-thin, two-dimensional bullshit song. You want a thick, powerful song that you can literally feel like you're absorbed in.
Tell me about the making of Freeway, guys. Honestly, as far as videos go, that thing is incredibly authentic. I really dig the music, of course, you know that. But aside from that, I love the filming. I love the way it's put together, edited, shot. I love the lighting. There is pretty much nothing about this video that I don't dig. So give me an idea, like as far as music videos go, I've seen Rock of the Woods as an official video. Are there other ones out there, or is this like the first real big deal of a video for Man-Made Lake? Because if it was, how did that feel when it came back to you guys? You must have been excited to see that for the first time, right?
The Freeway video is really sort of an amalgamation of two things. My buddy, Connor Gaston, who's a phenomenal filmmaker, check out his movie, Bardo Light. It's been nominated for all kinds of awards locally and, worldwide or whatever. And he came and he video captured us in the silo playing, and then he spliced it with a movie that he shot on his iPhone about visiting his girlfriend that had some very bizarre ideas and a storyline in it. And he basically just cut it together, and we could not be happier with the results. People seem to love it. They seem to think that it really speaks to them in a lot of ways. And I mean, realistically, it was very serendipitous. We didn't have a lot to do with it. We got to throw a lot of props to Connor Gaston.
It's only fair that if we talk about it, we should play it as well. So here's the video for Freeway by Man-Made Lake. I absolutely love this video, and I can't wait for you to see it. So check it out on SBS Live this week.
all my money for you. I can hear you calling, lighting with these matches, alright. Gasoline had covered my hands. Sister, can you hear me? Mother's got her bruises tonight. Fending this old house with my chain. Patience is a valuable thing. Patience is a virtue, not unless the foaming the lines. Shackled like the king. Patience was a valuable thing.
Freeway by Man-Made Lake. You gotta see what I see, right? That is an excellent video. Not only an excellent video, it's an excellent song. And now that you've seen part one of the interview, you understand Man-Made Lake is a very, very creative band. They have definitely got some ideas up in the old dome. They're bizarre, whatever, they're weird, but they're awesome. And I absolutely love these guys. I appreciate all the time that they've put into these videos and sending them to us. So I can't wait for part two. There's so much cool stuff still to come from the Man-Made Lake interview. Next week we are also going to feature a preview from the upcoming interview with the Penske File. Excited to have that Canadian band with us as well. And we will also preview an album from a band called New Pink Floyd. That's a brave name, so I'm excited to see what those guys come up with as well. That's pretty much it for now. Is that it for now? I'm looking at my notes here. I'm cheating. That is it. Okay then. Till next week.